Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today on Latakin's Nor Kitchen we're gonna make falafel. That's right, falafel is one of those common food like French fries and pizza that pretty much everybody loves. In fact, when I meet someone that doesn't like falafel, I have to admit it, I'm a little suspicious. I mean, what's not to like about this crispy fried chickpeas fritter? And I don't think there is so much danger in this video, putting your friendly local neighborhood falafel stand out of business. And I think you're gonna be surprised how easy it is. So let's go ahead and get started with the star of our show, Ganzo beans, also known as chickpeas. And for the amount I make, I'm gonna use 2 pounds of dried Ganzo beans. Check them out, they have very cool appearance like brains. And what we need to do is soak these before we use them. So pro tip, if you want to make these today, make sure you do this step yesterday, alright? Because what we need to do is cover these in cold water and let them soak at least overnight. So like I've said, we'll cover those with a few inches of cold water and we put that aside. And as long as you've covered those with enough water, the next day they should look something like this. And then what we do at this point is drain those very well before we transfer that into our food processor and add the rest of the ingredients. Alright, a blender will work sort of okay, and yes, you can make this by hand by chopping or crushing, but that's gonna take significantly longer, so try to find a food processor. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and dump in half the amount of our drained beans, to which I'm gonna add some diced onion. And by the way, even though this is gonna get processed, I think it mixes more evenly if you start by cutting the onions nice and small. So I'm gonna add in about half an onion along with 3 cloves of garlic. We're also gonna need a whole bunch of freshly chopped parsley. Some people also like to use cilantro here, or a combination. We're also gonna need some salt as well as some freshly ground black pepper. We're also gonna throw in a spoon of ground cumin, or cumin as I believe it's supposed to be pronounced, as well as a little bit of ground coriander. And we're gonna shock the world by putting in a little pinch of cayenne. And that's pretty much it. And do you need to give it a mix like this before you process it? Probably not. I'm not sure what I did that, but it's too late now. But anyway, once all your ingredients are together, we're simply gonna process this, boosting on and off to start, of course. And what we wanna end up in here is something that's pretty finely ground, but not a puree, alright? We don't wanna liquefy this or turn it into a really fine paste. And with something like this, it's always a great idea about halfway through to take a little break, take off the lid, take a spatula and kind of scrape everything down off the sides. Give it a little mix in case there are any large rogue chunks refusing to get mixed in. So I did that and recommend you to do the same. And we'll continue to blend that until, like I've said, we have a very finely ground mixture. And instead of trying to think of a very clever way to describe it, let me just show it to you. This is what I think you want, alright? Very finely ground but not pasty. So we don't want to go too far. And by the way, when you put a lot of greens inside, the color of falafel will turn to green. So it's up to you to decide which color you want. But anyway, it has to be ground fine enough to hold its shape, because it's either you form this in your hands like balls, or if you have falafel mold you can use it so you can get another shape. So that's looking good. And at this point I'm gonna transfer half the amount to a plastic bag so I can freeze it in the fridge to use it another time. And that's amazing that you're not gonna get into the same process again and again. All you need to do at that point is adding baking soda, not powder, baking soda before we fry them, okay? Now what we want to do is cover this and let it sit for an hour or so before we start forming our falafel. And yes, we can do this without letting it rest, and it does work, but by sticking it in the fridge for an hour, those flavors really are gonna melt together and it's gonna be a little easier to work with, which is never a bad thing. After which we're ready to make our tahini sauce. So to make that we need to use half a cup of tahini as well as 1/4 cup of yogurt. Now here's the thing, the yogurt is always going to be about half the amount of tahini. And then what we do next is go ahead and add juice of half a lemon in addition to half a teaspoon of salt. Last but not least is half a cup of water. Then we'll take a whisk and give this a mix. And if you find your sauce is too thick, that's okay. You can add in more water until you have a perfect texture. I think this is it, just about perfect. And at that point we're done, except for of course the taste and adjust. So you just want to taste this for salt and acidity, and assuming this is just good, just the way we want, we're gonna go ahead, cover it and set it aside. Now we're ready to shape, but before that we need to add half a cup of water as well as 1 teaspoon of baking soda, not powder, soda. And we actually add that immediately before we need to deep fry our falafel. We can't add it if you want to freeze that. And what we do next is go ahead and start shaping our falafel. I have this cute falafel mold, but if you don't have one, you can shape it in a small bowls using your hands. But first you need to moisten your hands with water to make it easier to work with. Alright, so we're gonna form our falafel in the shape of our choice, and at that point they're ready to fry. So we're gonna cook this in a medium hot oil for roughly 3 minutes, and of course that time is gonna vary with your size and shape, but for the ones I did here, 3 minutes was just about perfect. And I'm just playing with them here. You don't have to do this. I was just bored, so I gave them a stir. And after 3 minutes, they should look like this. Beautifully brown and crispy from the outside. Oh yeah, those look done. So transfer them into a dish to cool for a minute. And we'll open one so you can see that gorgeous side. And right here you can give a look at the texture inside. It shouldn't be too wet, it shouldn't be too dry, it should have the texture of falafel. And I'm gonna serve this with tahini sauce as a dip, along with some vegetables, and of course would not forget the pickles, which is very simple and very beautiful way to serve them. Will I get some great news here? I'm gonna make you a sandwich too. So all we need to do now is bring flatbread, some Syrian or Lebanese bread, and then we're gonna go ahead and open it. So to start this, we need to put 1 big teaspoon of hummus dip, swipe it generously, as well as 3 to 4 bowls of falafel, and then we go ahead and add some lemon slices. I love lemon, so if you don't. In addition to tomato, some mint leaves, and those are perfect combination, so please don't forget the mint, some cucumber, lemon juice, and salt. Last but not least is some cucumber pickles. And then we go ahead and finish this off with some tahini sauce. Now all we need to do is wrap it and enjoy. And of course some drizzle of tahini on top. And that's it, our traditional falafel sandwich with pita bread is done. It's just one of the all-time great fast foods of the world. It's healthy, when in the oven of course, delicious and beautiful fast food, but anyway that's it. And I really hope this video inspired you to give this a try. And what if it doesn't? I'm not gonna lie, I'll feel awful. But seriously, I really do hope you give this a try soon. Thanks for watching, and if you liked my video, please make sure to subscribe, like, follow and share so you can help me get more people to reach Latakian's Noor Kitchen. See you later!